Welcome to the XFO Intelligence Podcast. I want you to join me in a thought experiment. Imagine a world, maybe not too far from now. Let's call it, say, November 2025. And in this world, every single person on this planet has identical mastery of artificial intelligence. The same tools, the same capabilities, the same power to generate code, analyze data, and solve incredibly complex problems. In that reality, what happens to competitive advantage? Right? When everyone has the same hammer, being a good hammer swinger, well, it's no longer special. Technical skill with AI ceases to be a differentiator. It just becomes the baseline. So what then separates the exceptional from the ordinary? The answer reveals a profound and, I think, a really encouraging truth. When technology becomes universal, our humanity becomes the ultimate advantage. We're already at the dawn of this era, what we can call the great equalization. As AI capabilities democratize across societies and industries, we're witnessing a fundamental migration of value. Advantage used to live in who had the better tools, right? Or the more refined technical skill. Now it's flowing toward those irreplaceable, deeply human capacities. Consider two professionals. They have identical AI skills, and they're facing the exact same business challenge. The first professional, they approach it as a technical optimization problem. How can I use this AI to make things faster, cheaper, more efficient? But the second professional, they ask a completely different set of questions. They ask, whose lives will this solution touch? What unspoken human need does this truly serve? What are the unintended consequences that might ripple through our communities? That second professional doesn't just solve the problem, they reframe it entirely. And that space, the space between what AI can do and what humans should do, that's where the new frontier of competitive advantage now lives. This new advantage, it rests on 5 human-centric pillars. The first is purpose as a compass. In an AI-saturated world, flawless technical execution is just table stakes. What truly matters is why you execute. See, an organization with a crystal clear purpose, one that can articulate not just how its AI solution works, but why it matters, it becomes a kind of gravitational center. It attracts talent, resources, and loyalty not through superior algorithms, but through shared meaning. A healthcare startup using the same diagnostic AI as its competitors, they'll thrive if their purpose resonates. They don't just detect tumors, they restore hope through early intervention. Purpose transforms a commodity into a cause. The second pillar is context as a superpower. AI is brilliant at recognizing patterns across vast data sets, but it is blind to the subtle, unquantifiable nuances of human context. A doctor who understands a patient's cultural background, their family dynamics, their unspoken fears, that doctor can apply an AI-generated diagnosis with a wisdom no algorithm could ever possess. This deep contextual intelligence, cultivated through lived experience, empathy, and specialized domain mastery, that is what turns a generic AI output into a life-changing, human-centered solution. This leads directly to the third pillar, trust as infrastructure. Think about it. When anyone can generate convincing content, design sophisticated products, or analyze markets with AI, trust becomes the scarcest and most precious resource in our economy. In a world of deepfakes and algorithmic manipulation, we instinctively seek out authenticity. And that trust, it isn't a feature you can program. It's an infrastructure you build. It's earned through consistency, vulnerability, and proven integrity. The sum of repeated human moments of honesty and reliability. In complex, ambiguous situations, which is where the real value is, trust is what determines who even gets the chance to apply their skills. Fourth, we have creative synthesis as an innovation engine. AI is a master of permutation. It can rearrange and recombine existing ideas in infinite ways. But humans, we create meaning through synthesis. We have this unique ability to connect seemingly unrelated domains. Think of a chef who uses AI to suggest novel flavor pairings, but then draws on a childhood memory to create a dish that evokes a powerful sense of nostalgia. Or an engineer who uses AI for complex simulations, but applies insights from biology to design a structure that's not just efficient, but resilient and beautiful. True innovation happens at this intersection, where art meets science, where emotion guides logic. It's not about who can write the best AI prompts, but about who dares to ask the most profoundly human questions. And finally, the fifth pillar is ethical judgment as a strategic filter. As AI automates more and more routine decisions, the premium on human skill shifts to navigating ambiguity. When an algorithm suggests a cost-cutting measure that would devastate a local community, who makes the final call? When generative AI creates content that is technically accurate but emotionally harmful, who draws the line? These judgment calls, weighing trade-offs between efficiency and humanity, between short-term gain and long-term trust, they are becoming the highest value skill in any organization. So the most powerful insight here isn't that we have to compete with AI. It's that competitive advantage now lives in the quality of the human-AI symbiosis. It's about mastering a new rhythm, knowing when to let AI lead, like, say, optimizing a delivery route, and when a human must lead, like deciding which communities deserve priority service during a crisis. It's about designing our work not just for more output, but to amplify what makes us uniquely human, our ability to mentor, create, and connect. What's fascinating is that in this AI-equalized world, authenticity becomes a strategic asset. Networks naturally begin to self-organize around trust, meaning, and purpose. The artist whose AI-assisted work sparks a genuine conversation about grief, they build a loyal following. The engineer whose AI-optimized design prioritizes human dignity and accessibility becomes the go-to collaborator. The visible fingerprints of human care, the slight imperfections, the choices that reflect values beyond just pure optimization, that's what people will seek out and reward. So, how do we thrive in this new landscape? It requires intentional practice. We have to develop T-shaped mastery, go deep in one domain where context is king, while cultivating a broad human understanding of things like psychology, ethics, and storytelling. We have to build our trust infrastructure daily through small, consistent acts of integrity. We have to practice ethical triage, regularly asking, what is the one decision here that AI should never make? We must seek out productive friction, creative tension, because human breakthroughs rarely emerge from a state of perfect flow. And finally, we have to learn to measure what truly matters, not just efficiency gains, but human outcomes like team vitality, customer trust, and community impact. When we look back at history, we see that competitive advantage has always been, at its core, human. The spreadsheet didn't eliminate accountants. No, it elevated those who could interpret numbers as stories about human behavior. The printing press didn't diminish writers. It amplified those who understood the human heart. In the AI-equalized era, victory belongs not to those with the most powerful tools, but to those who wield those tools with the deepest humanity. The path forward isn't about becoming more like a machine. It's about becoming more deeply, courageously, and compassionately human. And that is an advantage no algorithm can ever replicate. Now, here's a question I'd like you to think about. In your own work and in your own life, what is the one task or decision that you believe must always remain fundamentally human, and why?